Good morning, it's Karen, and this is my spoiler-free review of Ghost Music by ILYA. When I drew this out of my TBR jar, I had completely forgotten what the synopsis was. I knew I put it down for a reason. I was not expecting to review this one, and yet here we are. I really need to talk about it. This is a really short character study that is immersive in its atmosphere, and there's something sort of unsettling going on beneath the surface. We follow this main character, Song, as she is moving in with her mother-in-law and her husband, and they are moving to this new place in Beijing. And we basically are meeting them at a sort of crux in their life. Song begins to think that she wants children, and her husband, Bowen, doesn't for some reason, and he's not really giving her an answer. All of that is explored and revealed throughout the book, but it's done so skillfully. Our main character was trained as a concert pianist, but she knew she would fall short and would never reach there. So she is now a piano teacher, and I loved the references to all of the different piano pieces throughout this. This is a story about unaddressed feelings, concealed feelings, that sort of when people hide how they're truly grieving about a lot of things. And most characters that we meet in this book have something that they are working through, but nobody talks about it. This could be a point of frustration for some people, that just talk about it thing, because Song and her husband Bowen never really talk, and you just want to put them together in a room and just say, meet please, and just discuss this. Her husband is constantly working. He's disappearing for months on end on these work things. He says he's a car salesman, but I think that's a bit of a front. I'm not sure. It's never really explained what he does, but he's out almost all of the time. So Song ends up spending most of her time with his mother. This is not a spoiler. The first chapter, we experience Song. She is in this dreamlike state in this very, very dark room. And all of a sudden, a small orange glowing mushroom pops up from the ground and says to her, "Remember me." We are not really fully explained what this is. We don't know if this is a ghost. We don't know if this is a dream. We don't know what this is. And this is the magical realism that is threaded throughout this book. When she moves into this new apartment, they begin to get these packages that are full of mushrooms, wild, special mushrooms. And Song and her mother-in-law end up start cooking them together, and it brings them together in a really lovely way. However, when the packages stop, they break apart again, and they don't really converse or connect. The other plot line that we get is this pianist. He is known as a child prodigy. His name is Bai, and he is supposedly the one who's sending the mushrooms, but we're not actually sure, because he was reported missing years ago, and his family has finally declared him deceased. So we don't know if this is a person pretending to be him or if it is him. We don't know if it's a ghost. We don't know if it's this person of imagination that Song is just kind of creating as a way to escape her reality and fully explore what piano means to her. I really enjoyed the two elements, the two very contrasting elements of pianos and mushrooms, and I'm personally interpreting piano as what people feel they need to do in life, and the mushrooms as the spark of joy, that creativity that they need in their life. And the mushrooms seem to appear to Song whenever she is needing that spark of joy, or that discussion of what does it mean to live life. On a personal note, I really connected with this. Not only did I really love the element of these little mushrooms just like poking out and talking to her, but I also really enjoyed, it started with a John Cage quote. Now, in my university, if you don't know, I am a piano major, and I went through university studying piano. And one of our history professors played us this movie of John Cage, who's a very famous composer who explored a lot of what sound is and what music is. And he's wandering about this forest in this movie, and he's picking mushrooms all the while discussing music. And I feel like this author watched this movie, which is funny because I always thought that was a bit of a fever dream. And I always talk with my friends like, oh, do you remember that John Cage movie with the mushrooms? Like, yeah, yeah, yeah. So I feel like she watched this and was struck by the inspiration. And to me, that's a very like niche corner of the world, and I really loved that. Here's the question that you're probably wondering: should I read this? Well, if you like stories that end in a very sort of open ended way, I do, so I loved this, then I think you would really appreciate this. Character studies, a dash of magical realism, those questions of, is this actually real? Am I experiencing this? What's going on? And if you like the dealing of grief that's been suppressed, this is a book that does this in a very excellent way, and I would highly recommend it to you. Personally, I would definitely read more from her. I really enjoyed this. This was a very short read, and I flew through it. My name is Karen. I am the Book Libronaut, and I love exploring all types of books. Thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you again soon.